Joining me now on the Daily Ledger Page 5 beat from San Francisco, economic analyst, hedge fund manager, and contributor to Forbes and other major business publications, Thomas Landstreet. Tom, U.S. Supreme Court, interesting ruling, as actually not a ruling. They declined to take the case. This was a challenge to President Trump issuing steel tariffs. And I think that whether you agree or disagree with what President Trump was doing with the steel tariffs, by the way, he lifted them on Mexico and Canada. But whether you agree with the tactic or not, I think that you have to agree that the President of the United States needs to have the ability to levy these tariffs when he deems them necessary.
And apparently he does, Graham. They refused to vote on it, and it was no dissenters whatsoever. So even the left wing of the court refused to see it. It's just industry groups fishing, by the way, for a solution. They're just desperate to get back to business, and they're trying anything they can, Graham, but it was a good ruling, clearly.
All right, now we have this phony letter from these leaders in the Democrat Party, including George Soros, and it is a phony letter, and it's an open letter to President Trump or whoever will listen on Capitol Hill right now, and that is, hey, will you tax us some more? Well, I have a letter I can write to George Soros. Why don't you just write a check? Go ahead and give the Treasury more of your money. You don't have to ask President Trump.
You're right, it is fake. So look, I'd love to tax George Soros on principle, everything he has. Then he might not be able to do as much evil. However, I can't, and it's not a good idea. First off, there's not enough money there, Graham, to address the problem. Second off, where does it stop once it starts? Third, the rich don't pay taxes. If you look at the amount of GDP that the rich pay through tax rates of as high as 70% during the 70s to even 28% under Ronald Reagan, it's about the same. So these people are not going to end up paying any more taxes. And anyway, California learned the hard way. You might remember in 2000, their budget busted after the internet bubble burst because they were getting over 25% of their income from the highest wage earners. So when we go into a severe recession, all that income dried up and their budget would bust. We should be taxing, the working class more, not less, to even out the tax base.
Well, of course, the Democrat candidates for president are pushing these socialist ideas, these crazy redistribution of wealth ideas. And really, if you look at the debate that's coming up later this week on Wednesday and Thursday between the Democrat presidential candidates, it's going to be a contest of who has more radical anti-free market ideas. For example, this crazy notion of breaking up, quote, big high tech.
Look, it's going to be a shouting match. There's so many of them. The only way that you would distinguish yourself is by getting far out to the left. But I'll promise you one thing, Graham. When it comes time for the primary to end and there be a Democratic candidate stepping up against Donald Trump, all this stuff will quiet down. They'll become a lot more sober when they're really running, don't you think?
I do, and I do believe in the free market, and if anybody's going to break up a high-tech organization or sector, it's called the free market. And let the free market decide whether the sector should exist or not exist, and if they go by the way of pagers, then they go by the way of pagers. Thomas, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.